The destruction of the second temple and the expulsion from the land was coming with them. That's why I had Jeremiah write this. See, a time is coming. He knew the land was going to lay desolate for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. But that one day they'd come home, and when they do, he comes back. That's all it is. He's coming with sin forgiveness. All Jews don't have to be sin-free for God to come back. He's coming back with sin forgiveness written. And his messenger described in Isaiah 53. And this is a large case of, I'm going to bring destruction on you and this and that. Rome was coming. He just knew it until he took advantage of the situation, saying, "I'm doing it," to put fear in his people. But the fact is, in the natural order of the world, Rome was going to destroy the temple in Jerusalem, and it was going to disperse them because they were a nation of multi-god Gentiles. And then you had the Jews with all their strange little things to the outside world that they do of the one God. So that's just a good example. God's prophecy is based on absolute knowledge of humanity from beginning to end. In the days of Jeremiah, it was time to look forward to the days of the third temple, and God had Jeremiah write his words accordingly. In his day, Jeremiah and the Jewish people became, the day of Jeremiah, and the Jewish people became the Assyrian Babylon exiles by the deportation of Judah to Babylon that had been Assyria, where the other tribes were from previous defeats and deportations from the northern kingdom and lands east of the River Jordan. Sin forgiveness is in the book of Isaiah for the Assyrian Babylon exiles and the second temple and the second temple. And sin forgiveness for the Roman dispersal and the third temple is in the book of Jeremiah for a time to come. The time when Israel returns to the land of desolation and makes it bloom again and renews the old cities in Jerusalem. And that is today. Well, it began in 1948, but it took quite a while to get it to bloom. But this is it's not a 24-hour day. It'll be, at a minimum, it's for the time of my life. And I'm 64. They told me 20 years ago I had 1 month to live of lung cancer. And I never went back to a doctor again. I crushed my life, crushed with disease, but given long life I shall see my children. You see, that's my proof that I offered myself for this process of removing the guilt of the witnesses in the first 6 verses. I'll go through it. It was a covenant between us, myself and God. And I had to worry about it because it says I might be given long life. And I was just getting to know him. He's pretty tough too. It's scary you to death. Just for the fun of it. He thinks it's funny. I said, you think a lot of things are funny. I don't find funny at all. I won't go into all that other. In the return of the Assyrian Babylon exiles, the northern kingdom was inhabited by Gentiles, imported by the Assyrians. Today, the stranger among the Jewish people are the Israeli Arabs and Israeli Christians. The aliens are the trespassers. Guess who that is? The Palestinians. And Arabs who are not Israeli. I don't care for the Palestinians being inside God's lands, and neither does he. I don't know where that's really going to go. We cut up about it, myself and an angel, we cut up about it often with ideas and plans of getting them over to Jordan where they should be. They're really just Jordanites. And, the fact that the Arabs keep them there and have been funding them for all these years because they like having the enemy within the gates of those they want the absolute destruction of. Which again, build the temple. Recognize me. You got too much evidence to not do it. Now, the arrogance and the ignorance of your rabbis and the tripe they throw out there, making you believe that the day's coming, Moshe's going to come, the world's going to love us, everybody will speak Hebrew, we will be great amongst the nations, they shall exalt us and admit we've been right all along about God. Yeah, you listen to that, and you're going to end up with utter destruction. That's what you're going to end up with. That's why they're dismissed. Now, you keep going to synagogue and listen to your rabbi and everything else, but if you want to tell him, how come you got dismissed, and see if he's got an answer, I guarantee you, most of them won't even know what you're talking about. If the books were published, I'd tell you to get a copy of the book and go give it to them and say, you know, you need to straighten out this Messianic era thing before you get us all killed. The Assyrian Babylon exiles were forgiven of all sins to become a holy seed. Israel is one of the... Oh, okay. Okay. This is verse 7. Because your shame was double, men cried, disgrace is their portion. Assuredly, they should have a double share in their land. Joy shall be theirs for all time. For I, the Lord, love justice. This is God talking now. I hate robbery with a burnt offering. I will pay them their wages faithfully and make a covenant with them for all time. That's the new covenant. Their offspring shall be known among the nations, their descendants in the midst of the peoples. All who see them shall recognize that they are a stock that the Lord has blessed. Verse 8 references the covenant made with Moses and the Israelites, which is eternal but never complete until the vindication of the Lord in the awesome, fearful day of the Lord. Now, this is chapter 61, that was verses 7, 8, and 9. When God makes a new covenant with the Jewish people that includes he will be their God and they will be his people, he's not saying it ever stopped. Basically, he's just repeating it. This is an amendment, renewal, and confirmation to be mindful of his laws by those who heed and fear him and revere his name. The recognition among the nations that the Jewish people are a stock of the Lord have blessed requires the building of the third temple. Because God says in the covenant of friendship, once my temple has been there, I think it says forever, but he says the nations will know I sanctify Israel and his people. It's very important. This is verses 10 and 11. I greatly rejoice in the Lord. My whole being exalts in my God. For he hath clothed me with garments of triumph, wrapped me in a robe of victory, like a bridegroom adorned with a turban, like a bride bedecked with her finery. For as the earth brings forth her growth, and a garden makes the seed shoot up, so the Lord God will make victory and renown shoot up in the presence of all the nations. Beautiful poetry. The Hebrew Bible, you can't take everything literal. I mean, there's poetry, there's metaphors, there's songs. But what's he saying? Build the temple, they'll know I sanctify you. Victory and renown for the Assyrian Babylon exiles was the building of the second temple, despite the attempts of the Gentiles in the northern kingdom to stop the building. Rome destroyed that temple. Victory and renown for the Roman dispersal will be in the building of the third and final temple of God, despite the attempts of the nations to stop them. Again, it doesn't have to be on the Temple Mount. When he says, I'm going to place my sanctuary amongst you, he doesn't say where the others used to be. You know, it's got to be on Mount Zion. It's got to be in Jerusalem. But, you know, and he tells me all the time, it's not even big enough for what I want. I mean, you know, he wants a place you could come and visit for 2 weeks in the summer on your summer vacation. Go in there every day. With hotels on the outside of it, of course. Places for kids. You know, I mean, it's not just, you know, the Holy of Holies and the 3 rooms and things here and there. And no, there'll be no animal sacrifice, okay? You know, there might be a replica of whatever they used to do the sacrifices in. I can't even think of the name right now. But that's not going to be there. You know, we've moved way past that. That was a teaching tool. It taught what sin was. It taught that if you do sin, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you your favorite animal. If you want to rid yourself of the guilt of it, and cook your food. It's very important. That comes up in the story with Solomon and his soldiers after a battle. This is too funny. They're still slicing open bulls and eating them on the field. And he ran out there and said, "Hey, you can't do that anymore. You got to bring your bulls up to my camp tonight. I'm building a..." God's doing that on purpose. Whatever you sacrifice in, you got to learn how to cook your food. Drain the blood. Make it kosher. Okay, well, I got really... Once again, God's got me on this cycle now where I'm basically not sleeping, but it's 3:30 in the morning. Okay, that's all I got. Thank you for listening.